Morning, everybody. I'm David. Thank you so much for coming out to join me for another practice. So, as always, we'll start with some breathing exercises. So, if you will, just find a comfortable seated position of some type. Make sure your spine is really straight. Then close your eyes and redirect all of your focus to your breath. And first, it's always good to just check in. So, take a few moments once you've settled to simply pay attention to your inhale and your exhale. If your mind travels elsewhere, notice as quickly as you're able, and then just redirect to your breath. And when you're ready, lift your right hand all the way up to your face and place the tip of your index and middle finger right between your eyebrows. As you focus on that space, take a deep breath in. Exhale all of your air. Use your thumb to block the right nostril. Inhale left. And then exhale out the left. And over again. Inhale to the left side, exhale as well. And make these some of the deepest breaths that you can draw. Focus on the space between your eyebrows as you breathe. And if at any time your arm starts to get tired, you can always lower your elbow a little closer to your chest or even switch arms. A few more rounds of those deep breaths. After you complete your next exhale, drop your hand all the way back down to your lap. Take a deep breath in. And after you've taken a deep breath out, just return to normal breathing patterns. And as before, pay close attention to your breath. And join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind someone in your life who could use some positive energy and dedicate your practices to them in some way. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So today we will begin from a standing position. So when you're ready, just make your way up to the front of your mat. Leave a little bit of space up there ahead of your toes so you have some places to plant your hands. You can start out with your feet hips distance wide or a little closer together, and then join both hands together in a prayer at your chest. We'll start with some half sun salutations. Use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and upwards. Forward fold as you exhale. And taking your fingers or your hands to the ground. Lift to your fingertips on the inhale. Forward fold again with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep all the way up to standing. Join your hands at your chest as you exhale. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift to your fingers. Exhale, fold forward. Use an inhale to sweep all the way back up, straight spine as you rise. Hands to your chest with your exhale. Once more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift to your fingers. Exhale, fold forward. Use an inhale to sweep all the way back up. Now this time we'll stretch your spine. So interlace your hands above your head and point your index finger up. Now squeeze your elbows in toward your skull and reach up through your arms till both arms go straight. This time, side bend your torso to your right. Press down through your left foot, and if possible, gaze upward and under your left armpit toward the sky. Deep breaths into your ribs. Use your next inhale to come all the way up. Tip your torso left with your exhale. And press down through your right foot to anchor things, and then gaze upward and under your right armpit toward the ceiling. Again, some slow breaths into your ribs. Use an inhale to come all the way back up. Forward fold with your exhale and take your hands down. This time bend both legs and then use an inhale to sweep both arms all the way up. Now join your hands together in a prayer. Rotate to the right, cross your left elbow all the way over your legs. Once your hands are placed together in a prayer, slide your wrists back a little bit so that your wrists align with your elbows, and then just press your hands together to deepen the twist. Just like before, deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Use an inhale to sweep both arms upwards. Join your hands together in a prayer and twist off to the left and cross your elbow over your leg. With your hands joined together in a prayer at your heart, tighten down on the twist with your exhales. Next time you breathe in, sweep both arms all the way up. Straighten your legs to stand up all the way. Then take your hands to your waist, and if they're not already, heel toe your feet apart until they're separated by hip distance. Now squeeze your elbows back in together, shift your hips forward, and take a standing back bend with an inhale. Fold forward with your exhale and take both hands all the way down to the floor. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. And from there, step back to the high push-up position. Pause with your arms straight. And tuck your tail. And for the next few moments, just hold there. Curl your chin into your chest. Press your hands down hard until the space between your shoulder blades stretches and slides apart. And then lower down through chaturanga with an exhale. From there, the up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. Now loosen up your hamstrings and calves with some pedaling. Straighten your right leg and bend the left. Alternate for the same on the other side. And then for the next few moments, just work back and forth between those two sides. Even now, deep breaths. And press both your heels just a tad closer to the floor. Drive out through your hands. And let your head drop just a little tiny bit until it naturally stops. Lift your tailbone ever so slightly upwards. And at the same time, keep pressing both heels down. All right, some standing poses for heat. And take a look forward, and then step or hop to the front of your mat. Come all the way up to the tips of your fingers. Then forward fold with your exhale. Bending both legs, use an inhale to come all the way back up for the chair. This time, squeeze your knees together and drop down just a little bit deeper into the seat. And press your arms overhead as well as backward until your arms stop near either side of your head. Next, sweep your arms all the way back near your sides. Hinge forward from your hips with your legs still bent, and pause once your torso is parallel-ish to the ground. Bend your knees just a slight bit more, and try to keep your spine really long from the base to the top. If you want to make things harder, reach both arms forward with your palms facing up. Just lift your arms higher and higher upward, trying to keep your spine really, really long. And let your arms drape down near the floor. Use an inhale to straighten your legs, stand up, reach your arms out to the sides and up. And then fold forward with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with a step or a hop. The up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. And come all the way up to the tips of your toes. With your hands still planted on the floor, move your hips and your heels to your right. And press your heels down toward the floor to stretch your side. At the same time, press out your left hand just a little harder. Use an inhale to sweep your hips back up. Switch them over to the other side with your exhale. And to make sure you're getting a good solid stretch in your waistline, press out your right hand firmly. Use an inhale to sweep your hips back up. Press your heels down toward the floor with your exhale. From there, step your right foot all the way forward. Turn your left heel down to the ground and inhale up to Warrior One. Torso forward and arms out to the sides and up. Once your arms are extended to the ceiling, straighten your back leg as much as possible. Bend into the front leg. For the next few moments, just gaze upward towards your outstretched hands. Breathe out every drop of air so you can fill your lungs completely with your inhales. And with your arms still extended up, straighten out your right leg. Turn your feet to face the edge of your mat. And then repeat Warrior One facing off in the other direction. Once you've bent your left leg substantially, reach firmly up through your hands and gaze up towards your outstretched fingers and fill your body with your breath. And straighten out your leg entirely. Turn your feet to face off to the side. And then from there, take your hands down to your waist. Turn your big toes in just a little bit more. With the elbows squeezed back in together, take a standing back bend with an inhale. Forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Turn your toes out with an exhale. And bend your legs substantially. And use an inhale to come up to the horse, both arms lifted. Now this time, interlace your hands behind your skull. Side bend your torso to your right. Rotate your ribs just a little bit left. And send your breath into the spaces that feel tight. Use an inhale to come all the way up. Switch it off to the other side with your exhale. Gaze upward and under your armpit to the sky. Let's try to relax your mind as your thighs continue to build their burn. Use an inhale to come up. Straighten your legs, reach both arms all the way out, and take a huge step to get back to the front of your mat. With an inhale, sweep your arms outwards and up. Forward fold as you exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. The up dog with the big breath in. Then the down dog stretch with your exhale. As you drive out through your hands, press your chest just a little bit closer to your knees. And holding there, just breathe. And now target your glutes. Come all the way up to the tips of your toes. Lift your right leg all the way up into the air and try to keep your hips relatively squared with the floor. Knee to nose pose with an exhale, and your shoulders over your wrists. Inhale, kick your foot up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, knee toward your chin. Step your foot all the way forward to the front up there. Lift to your fingertips, and then step your left foot forward also. Use an inhale to come all the way up to your fingers. Bend both legs with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep up to the chair. This time though, join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Draw your left heel up to your buttocks. The next time you exhale, straighten your right leg entirely. Draw your knee to your chest. Bend your right leg with an inhale. Knee to chest with an exhale. Squeeze your butt. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Squeeze at the top. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, knee to chest. And your foot all the way down to the floor there. Use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and up. Forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push up with your exhale. And the up dog with a big breath in. Down dog stretch with your exhale. All right, same cycle, second side. Come up to your toes with your hips relatively squared with the ceiling. Lift your left leg all the way up to engage your glutes. Shoulders over hands, knee toward the nose with an exhale. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Step your foot all the way forward to your thumbs. Do the same with your right foot. Use an inhale to come up to your fingers. And with your legs bent, use an inhale to rise to the chair. Join your hands together in a prayer at your heart. And draw your left heel up to your posterior. As you exhale, straighten your leg. And draw your knee to your chest and squeeze your left butt cheek. Bend with an inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. One more time. Inhale, bend. Exhale, 1. Drop your foot and join your hands together in a prayer. Now use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and upwards. Forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Step your left foot all the way back. Now, if this next arm balance is a little too much for you, you can always hold a high plank as an alternative. Otherwise, take your knee to the floor and plant both hands on the ground just inside of your foot. This one's one of my favorites. It's called Ekapada Vinyasa. Now, to do it, slide your right ankle further over to the side till your foot comes completely off of your mat. And then tilt your right knee in toward your center line and let your leg rest on your uppermost arms. Now, once you've done that, lean your body's weight left, bend your arms lower to the low push-up position, and then kick your right leg all the way out to the side and forward. If you want to take it further, lift your back knee up. If you want to go a little further, lean forward, press through your hands and try to lift your back leg up. And then take your foot down. Step back to the low push-up. Up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. So this one takes a bit of practice, so you just do your best. Step your left foot forward. And take your rear knee down to the ground. Now, once you've placed your hands just inside of your foot, scoot your left foot over to the side. Now, the purpose of that is to tilt your leg in toward your midline. So tilt your left knee toward your shoulder until it comes into contact with your arm. Sometimes once you've done that, it's helpful to squiggle your foot over just a little bit more. Now, once you've settled in, lean forward and bend your elbows. As you rest your leg on your arm like a shelf, kick your leg out and forward. If you want to go further, lean ahead, lift your back leg all the way up. Step back to the low push-up, then the up dog, the down dog stretch with your exhale. And the child's pose. Let your knees settle. Allow your hips to drop toward your heels. And let your hands rest on your hands and up. Take the next few moments to center in and just shift your focus back to your breath. Deep inhales and deep exhales. So you feel all those waves of energy flowing through your body. And for the moment, walk both hands directly forward again. Rock up to the four-pointed kneeling stance. Curl your toes under and back. And lift your hips up for the down dog. All right, step your right foot forward to your thumbs. Turn your left heel down to the floor. And then come up to Warrior Two with an inhale. In this one, the torso always faces open to the side. Turn your right hand up to face the ceiling. Reverse the warrior by side bending to your left. And this time, give yourself a slightly more substantial stretch to your side. Really reach long through your fingertips. As you continue to hold, straighten your right leg as much as you can. With both legs still very long, use an inhale to come up with your torso to vertical, and then take the triangle with your exhale. Drop your right hand all the way down. As you twist, reach your left arm straight upward into the air, and gaze either downward, sideways, or upward at your hand. Bending your right leg, inhale back upwards for Warrior Two. Keep your legs in position and plant your hands on the floor just inside of your foot. Turn your back heel up to face the ceiling. Let your hips sink a little deeper to the earth. As you do that, walk your hands out and forward just a touch. Twisting, reach your left arm straight upward in the air. And just keep breathing deep. And then windmill your hands back down to the floor near the front of your mat. Back to the high push-up position. And lower through chaturanga. Inhale for the up dog. Exhale back for the down dog. Step your left foot forward. And then inhale upwards for Warrior Two. Turn your left hand up to the ceiling. Reverse the warrior by side bending to your right. Use your right arm on your leg for some external support. Reach strongly through your left hand. Let's try to make your left arm as straight as possible. Straighten out your left leg as much as possible. As you do that, you'll oftentimes be able to get an even deeper stretch in your side. Use an inhale to rise upwards with your torso. With both legs very long and straight, windmill your left hand down with an exhale, Reach your right arm all the way upwards in the air to space. Try to keep all of your angles long in the triangle. Bend your leg, inhale back up for warrior two. Now keep your leg bent and plant your hands on the floor just inside of your foot. Cautiously and slowly spin your right toes up because this one's pretty intense. If it helps, walk your hands a little further forward. Once they've sort of gone off at the diagonal to counter your weight moving back, let your hips sink down toward the ground. Make sure your right big toe points straight upwards toward the roof as you hold the stretch. And then lift your hips up a bit, plant your hands near the front of your mat, step back to the high plank, lower through chaturanga. Breathe in for the up dog. Breathe all the way out for the down dog. Lots and lots of breath. And then this time around, take a look forward. Step or jump up to the front of your mat. Use an inhale to come up to your fingers. Take your hands to your waist with your exhale. Use an inhale to stand up and come all the way to vertical. And then the tree pose. And draw your left foot toward your right inner thigh. Initially, join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Squeeze your butt on the right hand side and just keep your eyes locked on one single and solid spot. Take your foot slowly all the way back down to the earth. And then repeat on the other side. Draw your right foot up. Join your hands together in a prayer. Lock your eyes on some single solid spot. And just practice standing tall while there. Drop your foot all the way back down to the earth. Use an inhale to sweep your arms upwards and then backwards. Forward fold as you exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Lunge your right foot all the way back. Take your rear knee down to the ground. And then sink into your front leg as much as you can until you feel some stretch across the front of your left leg. If you like, you can continue leaning forward just like that. Otherwise, take your hand to your knee and come up for just a bit of a back bend. Now today, straighten your front leg just a little tiny bit more so you come closer to a 90-degree angle with your front leg. Tuck your tail in the back leg to stretch your quadriceps. And drop your ribs down in the front as well so everything is compact there. Lean forward and plant your hands on the ground. Lift your back knee upwards and step to the down dog. Then step your other foot all the way forward. Take your left knee down to the ground. Initially, let your hips sink down and forward. Your knee moves ahead of your ankle. Scoot your foot forward just a little bit. Once your knee is right above the ankle, take your hands to your kneecap and come up for that gentle back bend. Now, you don't have to straighten your right leg much, but straighten it just a little bit till your leg comes closer to a 90-degree angle. Tuck your tail, and for the next few moments, just hold there to stretch your quadriceps. Lean forward and plant your hands on the ground. This time, lift your back knee up, step to the high plank position, and drop your knees down to the ground. Now to build some stability in your lower back, tuck your ribs down in the front and keep them locked in. And And then with an inhale, lift your left leg out to the side and up with your kneecap at about hip height. Take it back down with an exhale. Inhale, 4. Exhale, drop. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 1. Hold it out at the side. Keep breathing as deeply as you can and try to keep your knee at that relative height. What you're looking for here is a pretty solid burn in your left outer hip. And then take your knee all the way back down to the floor. Once you've done so, we'll do the same with the right side. Use an inhale to lift your right leg straight out and up. Drop it down with your exhale. Ribs in, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 1. Hold there at the top. Try to keep your back relatively level with the ceiling so you can stack a glass of coffee on your back and just keep the leg lifted high. Take that knee back down to the floor. Cross your ankles behind you. Roll backward over your feet to a seated position and slide both legs forward. Now once you've done that, slide nearer to the front of your mat and then just roll all the way down your back to fully lay down on the ground. Now bend your legs, plant your feet on the floor, and this time scoot your feet all the way together so they're touching near the midline of your mat. Let your knees drop out to the sides like the open pages of a magazine. And plant your hands on the floor near your sides just to sort of help the balance. Now the next time you inhale, press down through your feet, lift your butt, and squeeze your rear end as your hips come up. Drop them back down with your exhale. 9 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift. 8. Exhale. Inhale, 7. Squeeze your booty. Exhale. Inhale, 6. Exhale. Inhale, 5. Exhale. Inhale, 4. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale down. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 1. Hold at the top and keep breathing. As your heels press down, squeeze your butt. Roll your tail under just a little tiny bit more and hold. All right, take your hips all the way back down to the floor, squeeze your knees together, and for the moment, just wave your knees from one side to the other side. All right, now we've balanced out all parts of your legs. It's time to start working your spine. So give your knees a big squeeze to your chest. Sort of plant your hands on your kneecaps. Rock up, plant your hands near the front of your mat, hop back to the high push-up position, and then this time around, lower all the way down to your stomach. Shalabhasana is a great strengthener. So with your hands in a push-up position, with your hands planted near the bottom of your ribs, just lift everything up. Your chest, and your legs, and your hands. Squeeze your shoulders all the way back in together as you maintain there, and keep breathing deep. If you want to make it a little harder, reach your arms back to your sides like airplane wings, trying to maintain your liftedness and your height. Lift everything up just a little bit more, and then relax to come down. Let your head rest on your hands, bend your legs, and wave your ankles from one side to the other side. Now this next one's a little strange. Prop yourself up on your elbows so that your elbows rest right underneath your armpits. And then slide your knees forward a few inches until your pelvis and your hips literally lift off of the ground. Now once you've done that, lift your tailbone up. Lift your chin as well to create a huge back bend in the middle of your spine. And for dramatic effect, if it feels okay with your knees, bend your legs and point your big toes straight up. Now just pretend you have a super long kangaroo tail. Lift it higher and higher up. Lift your chin and roll it back. And imagine you're trying to touch the tip of your kangaroo tail to the top of your head as you back bend. And take your feet all the way back down. Straighten your arms for the puppy dog pose. Walk your hands back a little bit if it helps. Shift your hips back just a touch until your thighs feel vertical. And then let your chest drop closer to the mat. And as always, you can take your chin all the way down if that feels okay, or you can leave your head up. The important thing is that arms are straight and that your chest is dropping down. Round your spine in order to lift your elbows. Walk your hands back and plant them directly under your shoulders. Crisscross your legs behind you. Roll backward to a seated position. And then slide both of your legs completely forward to the front. To reach your arms forward, roll all the way down your back, one section of spine at a time. And then position your feet for the bridge posture. Bend your legs, and as you plant your feet on the floor, reach your fingers forward and attempt to touch your middle fingers to your heels. Squeeze your arms into your sides, bend your arms to 90 degrees, and press your elbows down so you can squeeze your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Now drive down through your elbows, press your knees forward to lift your booty off the ground. Pretend you've got a yoga block between your thighs. Imagine your pelvis were like a vacuum cleaner, and try to suck the yoga block toward your pelvis to roll your tail under just a little bit more. The elbows press down into the earth and the legs are very active in this one. You can even squeeze your butt if it helps. Now let your hips come all the way back down to the earth. Wave your knees from one side to the other side. Now, if you'd like to repeat that with me, go for another bridge. If you prefer, press to the wheel by planting your hands near the side of your head. Otherwise, same arm position as before with shoulders drawn in. Lift your hips off of the ground to start. If you're pressing to the wheel, don't squeeze your butt. Instead, just drive down through your hands and press all the way up to the full thing. If you're in the bridge like me, imagine pulling that imaginary yoga block toward your pelvis to roll the tail under just a bit and breathe. Again, all the way back down to the earth. Wave your knees from one side to the other side once you're there. And then for today, reach both your arms completely out to your sides. Wrap your right knee over your left knee. Once your knees are stacked one above the other, shift your hips just a little further over to your right. Initially, drop your knees to the left and gaze out to the right-hand side of the room. Use an inhale to sweep your knees back up. Unfurl your legs, shift your hips way over to your left, and then cross your left knee over the right. Drop your knees over to the right-hand side of the room. And this time around, gaze left as you twist. Sweep your knees all the way back up and center your hips with the midline of your mat. Now to sort of restabilize your torso after doing those back bends, interlace your hands behind your skull or let your fingers rest near either side of your head if you prefer. Keep your legs bent and lift your feet off of the floor. Legs bent to 90 degrees. and then belly crunch up to the front. Straighten your left leg. Draw your left elbow towards your right knee, and then alternate. Right leg is straight, right elbow toward left inner knee, and then back and forth between both. Breathe however you want, and just keep pedaling. About 15 more seconds of these ones to go. Final 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way back down to the ground. And give your knees a big bear hug squeeze to your chest, and this time drawing them just a little bit tighter. Rock up to a full seated position. Once you've done that, draw your left foot toward your right inner thigh and let your knee fall completely out to your side. Bend your right leg so the knee points up. Slide your heel toward your midline and turn your toes out, and then let your right knee drop over to the side. Ideally, you want your foot to be in a position where one day as you fold forward, you could place your forehead on your heel. Now today, that's not altogether necessary. Just walk your hands forward as far as you're able to. Lengthen up through your spine just a little bit. And keep walking your hands forward and ahead until you feel a good solid stretch in your right hip. Now if you're getting enough stretch and you want to hang out like I am up here, just hang out there. I'm getting a ton of stretch despite the fact that my forehead is nowhere near my heel. But if you're not getting quite enough stretch and you want more, continue to fold forward and let your forehead tap the heel beneath. Just don't force it or strain it. Let it happen naturally. Walking your hands back, use an inhale to sit up. Now for a totally different pose, draw your right foot just a little closer to your body. Reach across with your left hand and grab the edge of your foot. And then place your right fingertips on the floor out near your side for some help with the balance. Pick your foot up, straighten the leg at a diagonal out and across your body. At first, it might not go all the way straight, though if it will lengthen, let it be so. And for now, just twist your torso off to your left. Slide your shoulders down away from your ears toward your belt. And then switching your legs position. Draw your right foot toward the left inner thigh and let your knee fall out. To measure your stance, just straighten your left leg and then bend it just enough to put your foot on the floor. When you slide your heel toward your midline and let your toes splay out, as your knee drops sideways, your foot should be well positioned. Walk your hands forward toward the front and keep the toes of your left foot curled back so the foot is relatively active. Then you sit up a slight bit taller and continue leaning forward into it with your exhales. Find the spot where you get some resistance and breathe into those spaces that resist. Want to go any deeper and you can effortlessly let your forehead tap your heel, then you go ahead and go for it. Otherwise, stay higher up like me. Use an inhale to sit up. Slide your left foot back just a little bit so you can use your right hand to grab the edge of your foot. Sort of place your left hand anywhere you like. Just make sure it's somewhere supportive. As you pick up your left foot, spin your toes toward the midline so that you can internally rotate your leg. And just work towards straightening the leg a little bit at a time. Rotate your chest off to the side as well. And then let your foot come all the way back down. Slide forward toward the front of your mat. And then just take a look behind you to make sure you don't have any items or objects behind you that you might knock your head on if you fall over. Now this first time round, grab the backs of your knees with your legs bent. Use an exhale to purposefully tip over. Inhale to come back up and try to find the balance. A few more times on your own. Exhale back and inhales up. Huge breath in at the top, and then drop your feet to the floor. Now, if that was pretty challenging, continue on with that. The secret to finding the balance is to inhale to pause at the top. If you want to make it harder though, grab your big toes, rock your weight back, and then extend your legs outward and up, utilizing all that flexibility you've built. Exhale to roll back. Inhale to pop up, try to find the balance. A few more rounds. Fill your lungs all the way up to the top and try to pause. One more time all the way up to the top. Hold there with your chest all lifted, stretch up to the top of your head, and slide your shoulders down away from your ears towards your belt. And then let go of your feet, take them back down to the floor. Roll all the way down your back to lay down on the ground. Reach both arms completely out to your sides. Draw your knees towards your chest. Drop both knees over to the right. And rotate your gaze to the left. Use an inhale to sweep your knees back up. Slide your hips over to the right. Draw your knees towards your chest. And then drop your knees left as you gaze to the right. When you're ready, find your way to the corpse pose, flat out on your back on the floor. Make any final adjustments you need to so you can let your body become comfortable and still. As always, if you prefer a seated meditation posture, feel free to do that as an alternative. Some years back, I went on a multi-day backpacking trip with one of my friends in the White Mountains. It was a big trip, and I think that the overall hike was around 24 or 25 miles in total. And over the course of the trip, we covered numerous mountain ranges. Now, we're both experienced in the mountains, and we knew that we wouldn't be able to pack enough water to last us for 3 days, so we brought a lot of water at the beginning, and then we brought all the appropriate tools to purify water on the way. You see, we're going to draw most of our water from creeks and streams and different springs up there in the mountains. Now, the first day, everything went really well, but because we were walking so far and both of us hadn't broken in our shoes as much as we could, we started to develop blisters. Now, I have no idea why we did this, but we started to develop hot spots on our feet, and we didn't want them to turn into full blisters, so we decided to duct tape the spots that were getting a little heated up in the hopes of giving them more protection. Now, unfortunately, the duct tape did not work. As we continued on with our trip, the duct tape actually made things worse until the point came where my friend lost all the skin on his little toe, and I lost most of the skin on the back of my right heel. Now, as you might expect as we walked, those painful conditions were not all that great, but sometimes when you're hiking and sometimes when you're moving along, you push forward anyway and you wind up working through the pain, which is what we did. Now, never forget, once we got deeply into the hike on the second day and we had actually started to run out of water, we were very thankful to know that there was an upcoming spring. So we continued trudging along step by step until we got to the spring. And when we got there, we saw a big note saying that the spring was out of water for the season. The next particular stream was 6 miles away. Now, at that point, we were, of course, really disappointed. We knew that we were at no risk of not surviving because we could definitely make the extra mileage, but our feet really hurt, and we'd already walked a ton of miles already, and the prospect of going further without very much water was actually pretty daunting. Now, even so, we didn't have any choice in the matter, so we just put one foot in front of the other, and it was really, really painful because we had somehow mentally thought that we were going to be able to rest for the day. But we kept going, and eventually we made it to the new spring. When we got to that point, the water tasted absolutely amazing. Now, in some ways, that experience reminds me of everything that we're experiencing right now in the world. We're all really tired. We are incredibly worn out for so many months in quarantines and with closures and all these other things. I know that for me personally, I'm absolutely exhausted, and some part of me really feels as though I can't go on. Now, even so, nature doesn't really respect that. We have to go on whether we like it or not. And so I think that as we continue to move forward, in many respects, it's just like the final leg of that hike. We know that we have to go on. That knowledge will give us strength, but that doesn't mean that the path forward won't be painful. It'll probably hurt quite a lot, given the fact that we've suffered so much already. There'll be lots of obstacles, lots of challenges to persevere through. But I think that if we can keep going, then some point we'll come to the end of all these things and things will become a little bit better all over again. Now, the one thing that I learned from that mountain excursion is sometimes when you have no choice at all, that lack of choice helps you to push forward. If you can take a break or you can stop, sometimes your mind gets lazy and you just don't move forward because you don't have to. In those circumstances, when there's no choice whatsoever, that choicelessness can actually be a great motivator to help you accomplish things that you don't normally think that you can do. Now, on the other hand, when you're in a choiceless situation like that, you always have the ability to protect your mind. I found over and over again, if I can sort of cut through some of my mental dialogues that are telling me that I can't, if I can cut through some of my worries about the future and the reflections of all the things that I've let go in the past, then sometimes the pain that I have to experience becomes a little easier to bear. So today we'll attempt to do that with a short meditation practice to help you calm some of the voices that we all hold in our heads. So for now, if you will, just let everything get really still and quiet. And for the next few moments, shift awareness to your eyes. For the next few moments, just focus there. Don't worry about stopping your thoughts. Just let them come and go without interacting. As long as you don't interact, after a little while, they'll bother you less. And shift awareness to your ears next. As you focus there, let your thoughts come and go. Just let them be like clouds in the sky. Whenever your mind wanders or you forget about your ears, redirect awareness there. Right nostril and left nostril. Your thoughts are still there. Just don't let them disturb your focus. Right cheek and left cheek. Upper lip and lower lip. Upper teeth and lower teeth. Tip of your tongue. Middle of your throat. Tips of your shoulders. Elbows. Wrists. Palms of your hands. Tips of your fingers. Shift awareness to your hips. Kneecaps. Ankles. Bottoms of your feet. Tips of your toes. right and left side of your body, back of your body, navel, center chest, tips of your shoulders, back of your neck, send awareness from your heart to the palms of your hands. From your heart to the bottoms of your feet. From your heart to the base of the spine, and again upward to the top of your head. So I once heard a Marine from the Special Forces mention that if you run against a physical task that you think is insurmountable, that your body cannot do it, then more often than not you are wrong. He actually went on to prove that theory by having his people do 1,000 consecutive sit-ups without taking a break. Each and every one of them almost broke down and they felt as though they couldn't do it, but he motivated them mentally, and surprisingly enough, they were able to. Now, I'm certainly not advocating 1,000 sit-ups. That sounds like a horrible thing altogether. But it's important to know that our bodies are so much stronger than what we give them credit for. And sometimes if we just get out of our own way mentally, then our body can do what it needs to do to get us through challenging situations. Now, there are many ways to do this, but my favorite way ever is to focus on breathing patterns when things get hard. And specifically, if you add a little bit of a mantra to your breathing, that can help cut through your mental dialogues. So this can work in any challenging situation that you have to go through, whether it's really intense exercise like the one that I mentioned, or something else that you have to deal with in life. Now, for the next few moments, if you will, redirect awareness to your nose. Breathe normally, but as you breathe, mentally recite the words rising, rising, falling, falling. And time those words to your breath so that the rising, rising happens as you inhale, and the falling, falling happens as you exhale. Rising, rising, falling, falling. Now, as you repeat those words, timing them to your breath, you'll have lots of thoughts playing out in the background, and that's definitely okay. But if your thought disrupts your concentration, redirect all of your awareness to the thought and recite the words thinking, thinking until it dissolves. Let's just go on redirect to the rising, rising, falling, falling of your breathing. If other thoughts break your concentration, redirect awareness to them and recite the words thinking, thinking. And for the next few minutes, just continue on with the rising, rising, falling, falling of your breathing. Mind is wander, redirected to your breath. Whenever you feel ready, let yourself roll over to one side. With both eyes closed, press back to a seated and cross-legged posture of some type. And then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Remember the person that you dedicated today's practice to. Now, either pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. Take a moment to be grateful for the gift of another day. And if you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.